Welcome back. Praise the Most High. I hope you had a good lunch. Now let's get started right into the word. So we finished off, and welcome back to all of the chat. We finished off the last section discussing mostly the spiritual war that is taking place between Israel's God, Yahweh, and Satan and the rest of the earth. That there's a spiritual battle that's continually going on. In fact, let's go back where we started in Revelation chapter 12, and let's look at it. Revelation chapter 12, and we said how that dynamic of spiritual war and how it started and how it was transferred to the earth is everything in terms of understanding why the Most High is about to destroy this place and understanding why he must, okay, and understanding how it started and the various phases it has taken and why we are where we are right now. We're going to talk more about that right now, but let's start where we left off. And welcome back to all in the chat. Let's start where we left off in Revelation chapter 12. Again, let's start with the war in Revelation chapter 12, beginning at verse 7. Only this time I'm going to read all the way down to 17. Okay, so let's start at Revelation chapter 12, beginning at verse 7. And there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels, and prevailed not. Neither was their place found any more in heaven. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, now is come salvation and strength in the kingdom of our Most High and the power of his Messiah. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before our Most High day and night. And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony. And they loved not their lives unto the death. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. And when the dragon saw that he was cast unto the earth, he persecuted the woman which brought forth the man child. And to the woman were given 2 wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness, into her place, where she is nourished for a times and a half from the face of the serpent. Let's stop here for a second. Let's make sure we don't lose focus on who the woman is that brought forth the man child. Let's not lose focus on that, because that's very important. In fact, let's go back up to verse 1. Let's go back up to verse 1 and let's read about this woman. And there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. 12 stars on the woman. Who is that? 12 stars on the woman. A woman is the wife of a husband. The wife is the body of the Messiah. She had 12 stars on her head. The 12 stars Joseph saw in his dream. Remember? Joseph said, I saw 12 stars. That's Israel. Those are the children of Israel. So the Messiah was birthed by the children of Israel. He came from Israel. Okay, that's important to understand, because let's go down and further in the chapter, and the Bible says, verse 13, let's read that again. And when the woman saw that he was cast unto the earth, he persecuted the woman which brought forth the man child. So he persecuted Israel, the true bloodline seed of Abraham, Isaac, and most importantly, Jacob. See, we need to always say that, because Abraham had Ishmael. He had other children with Keturah. He had children with Egyptian women. He had children, other children, and all of them were blessed too. But the chosen seed came from Jacob's children. That's why he says Yahweh's portion is his people. Jacob is the rod of his inheritance. Jacob is the rod of his inheritance. Okay, so it's the children of Jacob that's the chosen people. And Satan is making war with the children of Jacob. Again, just look and see Who is the one that is in want of all things? Who are the people whose necks were in chains? Who are the people that catch the most disease, the most heart problems? Who are the people that catch COVID the most and die from it? Who are the people that are in ghettos that have been redlined? Who are the people that were brought into slavery on ships? Who are those people? Those are Jacob's children. Those are Jacob's children, according to Bible prophecy. Those are Jacob's children. Okay? And so our Satan is at war with you. Let me put it into you, and please pardon me. I'm going to put it in a modern vernacular, a modern language that we can understand. The Bible doesn't use this language, but just to help you understand. Our Satan is at war with the black man. You get that? Our Satan's at war with the so-called Negro. He's at war with the so-called African American. Guess who's he at war with? He went to persecute the woman that brought forth the man child. Okay? Is that plain enough? I'll make sure you'll understand it. Because the woman is Israel. Israel gave birth to Messiah. The dragon tried to kill Messiah, which is why Messiah ended up having his mother and his stepfather flee into Egypt. Okay? Flee into Egypt. The red horse of Revelation 6. That's a different situation. So you have 4 horses. One of them was red. That's a different situation, Brother Mark. I got to go back into that. But we could talk about that another time. But yes, the main focus of Satan's wrath today is on the seed of the woman. The seed of the woman is what you call a black man, what you call a Negro, what you call an African American, what you call a descendant of slavery. That's a modern term, right? Descendant of slaves, DOS, African descendants of slave, ADOS. That's who he's at war with. More than any people on the planet, he's at war with them. And let's go over for a second that we studied the last section. Why is he at war with them? Because to them, the Most High promised Abraham, your seed is going to inherit this land. Your seed is going to be above all the kingdoms of the earth. I've only shown myself to your seed. That is why Satan attacks us so. We're the biggest threat to his kingdom. That's why he has to degrade us. That's why he has our men dressing in dresses and our women acting like men. That's why he tries to break up our families any kind of way he can. That's why he sends the strongest drugs to us. He creates neighborhoods and sends the strongest drugs, puts guns, try to get us to kill each other. That's why he does it, because he's scared of us. But he cannot stop the awakening. Just like he cannot stop the sun from rising, he cannot stop the moon from rising, he cannot stop the phases of the moon nor the stars, he cannot stop the wind from blowing. He cannot stop Father's spirit from awakening his people, because Father's word 100% of the time is going to come to pass, as he says it. But he's at war with us every step of the way. That's why you can never think you're going to get any fair reparations. Don't think you're going to get some government move that's going to help us and deliver us. Don't ever think we're going to be ever on equal footing with people that are in majority while they control things. It's never going to happen. It's never going to happen. I don't care how much business we start. I don't care how much we try to pool our money. We've done all that. We've done all that. That's not new. You heard of Tulsa, Oklahoma? We had our own banks, had our own drugstores, had our own supermarkets, owned our own businesses, had our own homes. And what happened? It got bombed. It got destroyed. It got overrun. Same thing in Wilmington, North Carolina. Same thing in Rosewood, Florida. Same thing in a lot of places. Because whenever we try to get ahead in this kingdom, it's not going to work. The kingdom that we're a part of is the one that's going to overtake all of these kingdoms. You see, brethren, people that really think that it's meant for us to take over in this system, That's like saying it was meant for Moses and the Israelites to take over the Egyptian government. Really, that's what you're talking about. So if you're thinking that, we're going to take over this current system with the monetary system that it is, with the US dollar, with the Federal Reserve system, the central bank system, you might as well be saying you thought Moses and them should have took over the Egyptian Pharaoh's court. But no, he didn't take over the Egyptian Pharaoh's court. Most High attacked and destroyed the Egyptian Pharaoh and gave us our own kingdom. That's the same thing that's going to happen today. Okay, same thing. We're just a couple of years from it coming to fruition, but it's coming. We're not going to take over this current system. The system is going to be destroyed. We just read it, Isaiah 24. He's going to turn the whole system out. Okay, he's going to take over. A kingdom of righteousness will be established. That's where we're going. That's what we're looking for. We don't look for this world's kingdom. A kingdom of righteousness is going to be established. Am I buffering? Testing 1, 2, 3. Y'all catching buffer? I don't see it on my end. Are you catching buffering on your end? Anybody? Sister Tamara says she's catching buffer. Anybody else catching buffering in there? Is it buffering on your end, or y'all seeing it? Testing 1, 2, 3. There's a little delay, so you're gonna probably hear me in a second. Okay. So Sister Tamara, I think it's in your. It's probably in your internet system. You may have to reboot your internet system. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So let's continue. Revelation chapter 12. And to the woman were given 2 wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness, into her place, where she is nourished for a times and a half from the face of the serpent. This is the time of trouble. 3.5 years. This is the time of Jacob's trouble. You will know it's the time of Jacob's trouble because we will be doing this. We'll be fleeing. See, the woman is nourished, and she flies into the wilderness, into her place where she is nourished for 3.5 years. We're going to be on the run. Why? Revelation chapter 13. Revelation 13, verse 15. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. That's why the woman is going to be given 2 wings of a great eagle. And she's going to fly into the wilderness, and she's going to be nourished for 3.5 years. You understand that? Okay? 3.5 years. 1,260 days. 42 months. You understand that? All right? Because that's where we're headed. Now, look. And the serpent cast out of his mouth water as a flood after the woman, that he might cause her to be carried away of the flood. What does the flood represent? What does the flood represent? Revelation chapter 17 and verse 15. Revelation 17, 15. And he said unto me, the waters which thou sawest where the horse sitteth are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. We saw also in Jeremiah 51, they sit on waters. Waters represent peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. In other words, he's going to have peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues coming after us. But we'll be hidden for 3.5 years. Okay? Trusting in the Most High as our fathers did when he provided for them for 40 years. Okay? He provided for them for 40 years. All right, let's continue. Verse 15 again. And the serpent cast out of his mouth water as a flood after the woman, that he might cause her to be carried away of the flood. And the earth helped the woman. See, the earth will help us. The earth helped the woman, and the earth opened her mouth and swallowed up the flood which the dragon cast out of his mouth. You see, we can't be found if Yah don't want us found. You remember what happened? They had Peter. They had just beheaded James. And they had Peter in jail. And they had 16 soldiers guarding Peter. And none of the 16 soldiers saw him walk right out with the angel. They didn't even see it. Messiah walked next to 2 disciples on the road to Emmaus, and they were talking with him. But the Bible says their eyes were held, that they didn't recognize him. We could be standing right next to them and they won't see us. Okay? He's going to protect us. The earth opened her mouth. You remember we read where the hail came down and destroyed our enemies as we were fighting them. Also, they sent hornets out to destroy their enemies while they were Most High sent hornets to fight their enemies. Nature is going to be on our side. You don't have to worry about snakes in the jungle. You don't have to worry about lions and tigers or grizzly bears. They're going to protect you. I know that sounds crazy, right? But when the Most High bless you, they're going to protect you. Remember now, when the Israelites started murmuring and complaining, he allowed the snakes to bite them. Prior to that, they've been walking through there. Nobody was getting bit by snakes. But when they started murmuring and complaining and talking about going back to Egypt, that's when the snakes started biting. Okay, it's the same with us. Only this time, we're not going to murmur and complain. He's going to separate the sinners from us. And when we flee, it's going to be just us. And all of our former brethren are going to be telling them where we were. And they're going to be trying to get us. But the Most High just said the earth helped the woman. And the earth opened her mouth and swallowed up the flood which the dragon cast out of his mouth. And the dragon was wroth with the woman and went to make war with the remnant of her seed. That's what's left. That's the 144,000 and those with them. The remnant of the seed, which keep the commandments of Yahweh and have the testimony of Jesus Christ. The testimony of Yahweh Shah is the Father's righteousness. That's the witness of the Father's righteousness. That's what Messiah is. He's a witness of Father's righteousness. Okay, they call it the faith of Jesus also, the faith of Messiah. That's what Paul calls it. And he says it's Yah's righteousness. That's the faith of Messiah. In fact, let me show it to you. Let me show it to you. Let me give you a couple of Paul's teachings on this. Philippians chapter. That's why people need to stop misrepresenting Paul and put some respect on that brother's name, a prophet and an Israelite. Notice it says in Philippians chapter 3, beginning at verse 8, yea, doubtless, I count all things but loss for the excellency of the knowledge of Messiah, Yahweh my master, for whom I have suffered the loss of all things, and do count them but dung, that I might win Messiah. Now watch this. And be found in him, not having mine own righteousness, which is of the law, but that which is through the faith of Messiah. The righteousness which is of Yah by faith. That's Messiah's faith. His Father's righteousness. Let me give you another one. Galatians chapter 2. Galatians chapter 2, verse 16 and 20. Verse 16 and 20. Knowing that a man is not justified by the works of the law, but by the faith of Messiah Yahushua. Even we have believed in, there's a difference, Messiah Yahushua, that we might be justified by the faith of Messiah Yahushua, not by the works of the law. For by the works of the law shall no flesh be justified. That doesn't mean there's no law. It just means that obedience to it doesn't declare you innocent of your sin. That's what it's saying. Being justified means to be declared innocent. You're not declared innocent once you sinned. No matter how much after that sin you obey. You're still guilty. But it's the faith of Messiah that declares you innocent. That is Father's righteousness declares you innocent. Verse 20, I am crucified with Messiah. Nevertheless I live. Yet not I, but Messiah liveth in me. In the life which I now live in the flesh, I live by here it is again, by the faith of the Son of Yahweh, who loved me and gave himself for me. So the faith of Messiah is different from faith in Jesus. It's much different. The faith of Messiah is the Father's righteousness. One more, Romans chapter 3. Romans chapter 3. Romans 3, verse 21, actually 20 to 22. Okay, Romans 3, 20 to 22. Watch now. Therefore, by the deeds of the law shall no flesh be justified. See, you can't be declared innocent because of the deeds of the law, by being obedient, because you're already a sinner, right? So you need to be cleansed from your sin before your obedience means anything. So, for by the law is the knowledge of sin. But now the righteousness of Yah without the law is manifested, being witnessed by the law and the prophets. Even the righteousness of Yah, his righteousness, which is by faith of Messiah Yahushua, unto all and upon all them that believe, for there is no difference. See, so you're declared innocent through Messiah's death for you, and Father's righteousness covers you, and now it's as if you never sinned. It's as if you never sinned. because the perfection of Father's righteousness is given you. And that's the gospel. I am not ashamed of the gospel of Messiah. For it is the power of YAH unto salvation, unto all that believe, to the Jew first, and also to the Greek. For therein is the righteousness of YAH revealed. That's the gospel. The revealing of the righteousness of YAH. See? So people misrepresent Paul's writings talking about he's doing away with the law. It's so stupid. He's not doing away with the law. He's making it so that you can obey it. Through the righteousness of the Father, through Messiah's forgiveness, you now can obey it. That's what he's doing. And he's giving you perfection, covering you in your imperfect state. In the spirit. See? So when it says in Revelation 12:17, the dragon was wroth with the woman and went to make war with the remnant of her seed, that's us, who keep Yah's commandments. How do we keep it? Through the testimony, the faith of Messiah, the testimony of Messiah, Father's righteousness. See, there's no power on earth that Satan can do to stop that. All he can try to do is induce you and me to not receive it. That's all he can do. He can try to trick, deceive, induce, bribe you and me, threaten for that we don't receive it. See, once you understand that perfection is yours as a gift, he gave repentance to Israel. That's what he said. I gave repentance to Israel so that Israel can overcome all her sin. There's no power Satan can do to stop you. He knows that. So he perverts it. He makes a white Jesus. He makes a false gospel. Just love Jesus and raise your hand and you're saved. All of that stupidness. He creates all that to make noise so that you don't know this. You don't know who you are. You don't realize he has been blessing you all along. And now with your awakening, the dawning of your intelligence that he gave you is now awakening. He's scared of that. He's scared of that. He should be. It's the end of his life. That's the end of Satan's life. Our awakening. See, and it's all in the spirit. You see how important the spirit world is? It's all in the spirit. It's all in the spirit. Ain't marching in the streets, no Black Lives Matter, lesbian garbage. There ain't none of that. And there's no virus or that they could do, no shot they could do. There's nothing they could do to stop that. Nothing. Nothing. That's all we need is to receive that. And receive who we are. And this is good for us and the Gentiles, to the Jew first and also to the Greek. Why? Because it starts with us. Because of the promise to Abraham, it must start with us. It has to. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem. They shall prosper that love thee. We talk about the new Jerusalem, not made with hands. Not the Israeli state. That's going to be destroyed. He's going to trample that. We just read it in Isaiah 63. He's going to trample that. The real one. That's not made with hands. The one covered in clear, perfect gold of righteousness with us in it. Praise the Most High. And those of the nations that are going to be with us. They don't want us to know that. But the word shows us. See what I'm saying? Please read this book. Read the whole thing, man. You don't need no other book. It's all in here. It's all in here. You see, I ain't showed you nothing else. It's all in there. It's all in there. So, let's continue now. We're talking about Jeremiah 51, right? So I want to bring you back to Revelation 15, where we were talking about the harps and the 144,000 with the harps. And of course, I want to also, before we go there, I want to just touch base on Revelation chapter 7 real fast, because I want you to see the rest of the folks, right? There's the 144,000 and those with them, because those with the 144,000 are going to experience what the 144,000 experience, right? But then there are others that are being resurrected that wasn't on the earth when all of these things came to pass. Right? Revelation chapter 7, verse 9. Revelation 7:9. After this I beheld, and lo, a great multitude. Now watch carefully now. A great multitude which no man could number, of all nations and kindreds and people and tongues, stood before the throne and before the Lamb, clothed with white robes and palms in their hands. So you have a great multitude which no man can number. Now that doesn't mean that there's a number that can't be counted. Most High knows even the numbers on our head, he can count them. But it means this: in Israel, you don't number Israel. Remember how David got in trouble because he tried to number Israel? And Joab was like reluctant, and I don't want to do it. And Joab didn't do it all. He did a lot, but he didn't do it all. And then David got punished, and the Israelites got punished because of David's sin. You can't number Israel. Somebody said, well, what about the book of Numbers? The book of Numbers numbers only the males that are prepared for war. That's it. The 144,000 represents the males that are prepared for the final movements of this war that we're talking about. Okay, so you don't number Israel. You don't number them. That's why it says it's a a multitude which no man could number. You're not supposed to number Israel, because most I say, I'm gonna make you as the stars of heaven and see if you can number them. No, don't number Israel. Don't place a number on Israel. Only the men prepared for war. When they left Egypt, there were 660,000 men prepared for war. Remember that? Not including the rest of the people. Just the men prepared for war. Every tribe had the men prepared for war numbered. 144,000 is the numbered men prepared for war. Okay? A multitude which no man could number, of all nations and kindreds and people and tongue, stood before the throne and before the Lamb, clothed with white robes, and they had palms in their hands. Palms in their hands. Wait a minute. You know I got to take you back to the feast. I got to take you back to the feast. Leviticus chapter 23. Take you back to the feast for a second. Leviticus chapter 20. Palms in their hand. Leviticus chapter 23. That's right, Brother Mark. Palms in their hands. Leviticus chapter 23. Leviticus 23. Talking about the Feast of Tabernacles. Leviticus 23, beginning at verse 39. And then also in the 15th day of the 7th month, when ye have gathered in the fruit of all the land, gathered in the harvest, that's the souls of the nation at the end. Ye shall keep a feast unto Yahweh 7 days. On the first day shall be a Sabbath, and on the 8th day shall be a Sabbath. I want y'all to remember there was silence in heaven about the space of half an hour. Prophetically speaking, that's 7.5 days, y'all. Let's continue. And ye shall take you the first day boughs of goodly trees, branches of palm trees, and boughs of thick trees, willows of the brook, and ye shall rejoice before Yahweh 7 days. Hey, let's go back to chapter 7 of Revelation. There you go again. There you go. They had palms in their hand. That was the multitude of the Israelite people of the kingdom. Don't number Israel, y'all. Don't number it. You don't know how many there are. Not supposed to number them. Praise the Most High. So now you have them, and in the midst of them, there's this group of people with harps. Revelation chapter 15. Revelation 15, beginning at verse 1. Revelation chapter 15, beginning at verse 1. And I saw another sign in heaven, great and marvelous, 7 angels having the 7 last plagues, for in them is filled up the wrath of Yah. So he sees 7 angels is after the harvest. He sees 7 angels, and they got the 7 last plagues, right? Okay. And verse 2, and I saw, as it were, a sea of glass mingled with fire, and them that had gotten the victory over the beast and over his image and over his mark and over the number of his name, stand on the sea of glass, having the harps of Yahweh. That's the 144,000 and those with them. That's us. That's the family, brother. That's us. That's us today. This is about to happen in a few years. It's about to come off. Okay. And so that's that. So you got the numberless multitude of the Israelite kingdom. Don't number them. Then you got the 144,000 and those with them, with harps, because of experience that we'd have gone through, that no other people in the history of the planet would have gone through the way we've gone through it. You have to remember, he counted Abraham for righteous because Abraham believed him. He said, Abraham believed in Yahweh, and he counted it to him for righteousness. That's why Paul says we receive righteousness through faith, because Abraham received it by believing what his father told him. Well, brethren, we're going to have to leave our houses and go into jungles in different parts of the earth, in Africa, in South America, Central America, in Mexico, in the Philippines. We're going to have to leave where we're at and just walk out into a desert or into a mountain or into a jungle And people, there's places right now in Brazil and Colombia that people have never been to. Do you know that? And there's some drug operations going back there because people are afraid to go back there because that's where all the animals and natures are. Well, we're going to be in those places. And the Most High will protect us in those places. And he's going to feed us in those places. And we're going to be all right. While the rest of the world drinking blood, we're going to have fresh water. And we're only going to have the clothes on our back. The clothes not going to get old. They're not going to get stinky. Our food is not, our foot is not going to swell. He's going to take care of us like he took care of Moses, like he took care of our fathers. Only this is it. This is the end. This is the most intense part. That's why we will go through an experience that nobody else on the planet has gone through on that level. And that's why the preparation is not of us. There is absolutely no way you and I could actually be prepared for this. There's no way. Only the Father can prepare us. And he is doing that. And it starts with our trust in his righteousness and in obedience to his covenant, being brought in harmony with his law. Praise the Most High. Okay. So now, Revelation 15, verse 3. And they sing the song of Moses, the servant of Yahweh, and the song of the Lamb, saying, great and marvelous are thy works, Yahweh Al Shaddai. Just and true are thy ways, thou King of saints. Who shall not fear thee, O Yahweh, and glorify thy name? For thou only art holy. For all nations shall come and worship before thee, for thy judgments are made manifest. After that, I looked, and behold, after that, so he sees the people on the sea of glass. The throne of the Father has a sea of glass, Just think of like the Atlantic or the Pacific Ocean. That's a sea, right? So you're talking about a sea made of glass and a gigantic throne. And Father sitting on it. And all of the saints standing on that sea of glass. And in the middle of the sea of glass, in glorified bodies, the 144,000. The angels see, John is seeing this. And after he saw that, what did he see? Verse 5. And after that, I looked, and behold, the temple of the tabernacle of the testimony in heaven was open. What does that mean? Where the Ark of the Covenant is called the tabernacle. That's what it's called. And the Ark of the Covenant contains what is called the testimony. That's what the two tables are called. Testimony. Or, wait for it. What's another word for testimony? Witness. What is it witnessing? These two tables, these two Ten Commandments. It bears witness of the Father's righteousness. He wrote it with his own hand. Therefore, it is a representation of his righteousness. That's why Messiah is called the Word made flesh. He is Father's righteousness in the flesh. He is what the covenant looks like in the human man. And that's what he wants from us. That's what he's doing with us with the Spirit in this war. So here, that place, the holy place, the most holy place where the Ark of the Covenant is in the third heaven, the one made without hands, that Moses said, you make this after the pattern I showed you. He sees it open. What comes out? Verse 6. And the seven angels came out of the temple, having 7 plagues, clothed in pure and white linen, having their breasts girded with golden girdles, proof of priesthood. And one of the 4 beasts gave unto the 7 angels 7 golden vials, full of the wrath of Yahweh, who liveth forever and ever. And the temple was filled with the smoke from the glory of Yahweh and from his power. And no man was able to enter the temple till the 7 plagues of the 7 angels were fulfilled. Look at what we got now. The redeemed standing on the sea of glass. At that time, 7 angels are given 7 vials of wrath to pour on the earth. The redeemed are on the sea of glass. And on the earth comes the vials of wrath. You got me? So now you got the vials of wrath being poured out on the earth, okay? Then you get to the 6th seal, okay? 6th seal. Revelation chapter 16, verse 12. 6th seal. And the 6th angel poured out his vial upon the great river Euphrates. Euphrates, in the spirit, is the main river that flows through who? Babylon. It's the main river that flows through Babylon. And so he's making a spiritual application here. The great river Euphrates is dry. Wait. And the water thereof was dried up, that the way of the kings of the east might be prepared. Let me wait. This gets deep, y'all. I want you to look back and remember. We're not going to go there in the Bible. When you have a chance, read Joshua chapter 5 and 6, okay? But when you're going through Joshua chapter 5, you will see that before they conquered Jericho, they had to come across the river Jordan. And when they were crossing the river Jordan, the waters thereof were dried up. The priests brought the Ark of the Covenant and stood in the middle of the river Jordan on dry ground, while the whole nation, more than 1 million people, came across. And once they came across, they had recircumcised all of the males, and they came across, and they were ready to now take Jericho and start their conquest of the land. It started with the waters being dried up, and they came across. Here's Babylon's destruction. The waters of the Euphrates dried up, that the way of the kings of the east might be prepared. Joshua and them came from the east. Messiah is coming from the east. Okay, there you go. At that time, what happens? At that time, in other words, it's about to come off. The kingdoms of YAH, Messiah, and the Father, and all the redeemed, and all the angels are about to make their appearance and take over the land, take over the planet, destroy it, and take over the land of Israel. Take it over, make it over for us. It was just about to get done, right? What happens? At that time, verse 13, and I saw 3 unclean spirits like frogs come out of the mouth of the dragon, and out of the mouth of the beast, and out of the mouth of the false prophet. There it is, the dragon, the beast, and the false prophet. The false prophet is the United States of America. It's that lamb-like beast that comes up in Revelation 13. The same 3 elements you have in Revelation 13. The dragon, which gave power unto the beast, and the false prophet that looks like a lamb but speaks like a dragon. Okay? So you have leaders. These are religious, political leaders. Government and religious leaders together. And they're representing these 3 powers, the dragon, the beast, and the false prophet. When it says the dragon, it is what it says. It is the devil himself. So in other words, the devil himself at this time makes an appearance. Only he's not going to show himself as the devil. I mean, why would he do that? He's trying to deceive people. If he comes and says, I'm Asatan and y'all follow me, he's not going to do that. No, what is he going to say? He's going to say, I'm the Messiah, and I've come to take my kingdom. That's what he's going to say. Messiah said, there shall arise false Christs and false prophets, that if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect. That's how good he's going to look. He's going to look just like, he's going to make himself look like Messiah. And now we're on the sea of glass, and all the earth is following Satan, who is portraying himself as Messiah. And you have the powers of all the religious powers of the earth making that proclamation. Everybody surrendering to him. Why is he doing that? He has to unite what's left on the earth as his final chance to take the kingdom. Okay, here you go. Revelation 16, verse 14. For they are the spirits of devils. There it is. Working miracles, which go forth unto the kings of the earth and the whole world to gather them to the battle of that great day of Al Shaddai. Behold, I come as a thief. Blessed is he that watcheth and keepeth his garments, lest he walk naked and they see his shame. See, that's to them. Messiah's return is as a thief. Not to us. No, not to us, but to them. He as a thief, because they're not expecting, they don't believe in him. They're not expecting him. See that? And he gathered them together into a place called in the Hebrew tongue Armageddon. And that's also in several places. But I'm telling you at that point, that's when they're going to try to gather together and they're going to try to fight against us. That's where Jeremiah 51 comes in. Then the 7th plague, we see the hailstone from the Father, which also goes along with Revelation 19, with Messiah on the white horse, which also goes along with Joel. Many prophets talk about this. Let me just give you all some so you can look them up. Joel chapter 3. Joel chapter 3. Where it said, Joel chapter 3, verse 1 and 2. Watch what it says here. Behold, in those days and in that time when shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem, I will also gather all nations. There it is again, and will bring them down to the valley of Jehoshaphat. See, there they call it Armageddon. Here they call it the valley of Jehoshaphat. It's the same place. And I will plead with them there for my people and my heritage, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land. Then Ezekiel talks about the same thing in Ezekiel chapter 39, where Gog and Magog try to take the city. Same thing. Okay, same thing. That's where Jeremiah 51 comes in. So now let's go to Jeremiah 51. Jeremiah 51. There's going to be 2 attacks, but this is the first one. In fact, let me just show you that real quick because we got time. Let me show you that real quick. There's going to be 2 attacks. The first one is Revelation 19, right? So we see Revelation 19, verse 11. And I saw heaven open, and behold, a white horse, and he that sat upon him was called Faithful and True, and in righteousness he doth judge and make war. That's Messiah, right? He's coming with us. The saints coming with it, okay, to take the kingdom, okay? So now down, you scroll down to verse 19, and I saw the beast and the kings of the earth. This is part of the 3 unclean spirits. And their armies gathered together to make war against him that sat on his horse, and on the horse, and against his army, right? So they gathered together to try to take the king. He said, look, I saw the beast and the kings of the earth. Remember, there's the beast, the dragon, and the false prophet, right? You just saw the beast, okay? Verse 20, and the beast was taken, and with him, the false prophet. The religious leaders of this earth are going to be destroyed first, forever. They will not come back in the second resurrection. You're looking at religious leaders right now. You're seeing them on TV. You're seeing them on the news. You're seeing them leading millions of people and getting paid. Get a good look, because it's the last of their life. They're not even going to come back for a second resurrection. They're not even coming back. Let me show you. And the beast was taken, and with him the false prophet that wrought miracles before him, with which he deceiveth them. Listen now, received them that have received the mark of the beast, and them that worship his image. These were both. Now you're carrying 2 of the 3, right? These were both, that is the beast and the false prophet. These were both cast alive into the lake of fire burning with brimstone. You don't come back from that. That's the second. Whoever cast into the lake of fire, you're not coming back. Okay, that's it. And the remnant were slain. Now they're going to come back. The remnant was slain with the sword of him that sat on the horse, which sword proceeded out of his mouth, and all the fowls were filled with their flesh. And we saw the beast and we saw the false prophet. Where's the dragon? Chapter 20, verse 1. And I saw an angel come down from heaven, having the key of the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand. And he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years. So the first resurrection, the beast and the false prophet are destroyed forever. Those false religions never come back. They don't even come back for a second resurrection. Satan will come back with all of the rest of the dead that's going to be resurrected. And if you notice, after the second resurrection, you don't hear no more about beast and false prophet no more, because they're not coming back. Now all you hear is Gog and Magog, right? Notice Revelation chapter 20, beginning at verse 6. Actually, let's start at verse 5. From verse 5, let's read down from verse 5 down to verse 9. Okay, watch. Actually, verse 10, 5 to 10. But the rest of the dead live not again until the 1,000 years were finished. That way, you have a resurrection of the righteous first. The wicked are not resurrected. Those that are on the earth already are the ones that's going to catch all the hell here. Okay, but then you got a second resurrection where you have the wicked that have not met their judgment yet. Ain't no Babylon, ain't no beast, ain't no false prophet in that now. Now you just got people coming up, right? Notice what it is. Blessed and holy is he that hath part in the first resurrection. On such the second death hath no power, but they shall be priests of Yahweh and of Messiah, and shall reign with him 1,000 years. This 1,000-year period, read Ezekiel chapter 39. It's during this period that the heathen that are ignorant, that the Most High is going to deliver anyway. He's going to save some heathen that are just ignorant. And brothers that are ignorant, this is where you all learn the truth. That's where you get to learn the truth. He saves you because he believes in your character. He believes that if you had known the truth, you wouldn't have followed stupidness. And he saves you. And he's going to teach you during this 1,000-year period. You're going to have the 144,000 who are the priesthood. You're going to have them teaching you. And by the end of the 1,000 years, you will be in. You'll know. Okay. Now, verse 7. And when the 1,000 years are expired, Satan shall be loosed out of his prison, and shall go out to deceive the nations that are in the four quarters of the earth. And he says, who are they? Gog and Magog. We already know who Gog and Magog represents. Read Ezekiel 39 and then Ezekiel 38. Gog and Magog is who's running the earth right now, but they're doing it under the power of the beast, dragon, and the false prophet. When they come back the next time, those won't exist. You don't see them mentioned anymore because they're not, that's it. The Babylonian system is destroyed. So now you have just Gog and Magog who are used to going off and conquering everything. They're used to taking what they want and raping and pillaging. Well, here they come again under the power of their master, Satan. Gog and Magog, to gather them together to battle, the number of whom is as the sand of the sea. And they went up on the breadth of the earth and compassed the camp of the saints about and the beloved city. And fire came down from YAH out of heaven and devoured them. And the devil that deceived them was cast into the lake of fire and brimstone where the beast and the false prophet are. See? So they're already there. So now the dragon gets cast in there. He's not cast in the pit now. He's cast into the lake of fire and brimstone to be destroyed. Right. And it says, where the beast of, and they shall be tormented day and night forever and ever. There you go. So now you see the setting. Now we go to Jeremiah chapter 51. Jeremiah chapter 51. Now we went through all this again in the Revelation series. So just look up the playlist for the Revelation series, or you can go onto the website RawHebrewRemnant.org, and you can find the Revelation study, and you can go through it. We went through all of that in the Revelation series. But let's take up where we left off in Jeremiah chapter 51, where he's telling that the portion of Jacob is his people. Okay. Jeremiah 51, beginning at verse 19. The portion of Jacob is not like them. He is the former of all things, and Israel is the rod of his inheritance. Yahweh of hosts is his name. Thou art my battle axe and weapons of war. For with thee will I break in pieces the nations. With thee will I destroy kingdoms. That is with Jacob. And with thee will I break in pieces the horse and his rider. With thee will I break in pieces the chariot and his rider. With thee also will I break in pieces man and woman. With thee will I break in pieces old and young. With thee will I break in pieces the young man and the maid. I will also break in pieces with thee the shepherd and his flock. And with thee will I break in pieces the husbandman, his yoke of oxen. And with thee will I break in pieces the captains and the rulers. I bet you your Christian churches are not telling you this. I bet you. Verse 24. And I will render unto Babylon and to all the inhabitants of Chaldea all their evil that they have done in Zion in your sight, saith Yahweh. Behold, I am against thee, O destroying mountain, saith Yahweh, which destroys all the earth. I will stretch out my hand upon thee and roll thee down from the rocks, and I will make thee a burnt mountain. You see burnt mountain as one of the 7 trumpets of Revelation chapter 8, 9, and 10, and 11. And of course, burnt mountain means a destroyed kingdom. See, I'll make thee a burnt mountain. And they shall not take of thee a stone or for a corner, nor a stone for foundations, but thou shalt be desolate forever, saith Yahweh. Set ye up a standard in the land, blow the trumpet among the nations, prepare the nations against her, call together against her the kingdoms of Ararat, Minni, and Ashkenaz, appoint a captain against her, cause the horses to come up as rough caterpillars, prepare against her the nations with the kings of the Medes and the captains thereof, and all the rulers thereof, and all the land of all the land of his dominion. And the land shall tremble and sorrow, for every purpose of Yahweh shall be performed against Babylon, to make the land of Babylon a desolation without an inhabitant. The mighty men of Babylon have forborne to fight. They have remained in their hold. Their might hath failed. They became as women. They shall burn her dwelling places. Her bars are broken. One post shall run to meet another, and one messenger to meet another, to show the king of Babylon that his city is taken at one end. And the passages are stopped, and the reeds have burned with fire, and the men of war are affrighted. You see, everything that came on Israel, remember he said, I'm going to put all these curses upon your enemies, and them that hate you, that persecuted you. So everything that happened to us, the fear, the destruction, the lack of power to fight for ourselves, are now going to be on our enemies. And it's already started. I want to tell you right now, the tides are already turning. It's turning already. It started already. Okay. The fact that I'm here teaching this is already telling you it's already started. If I was teaching something like this in, say, 1950, I'd be dead already. The only reason I'm not dead right now is the Most High protected me. That's it. If I was teaching something like this in the 40s and the 1800s, I'd be Nat Turner, right? If I was teaching something like this, I'd be dead already, right? But the fact that I can teach it, and I'm not the only one, is showing you the tide is turning. It's already turning, okay? Verse 33, for thus saith Yahweh of hosts, the Most High of Israel, the daughter of Babylon is like a threshing floor. It is time to thresh her. Yet a little while, and the time of her harvest shall come. Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, hath devoured me. He hath crushed me. He hath made me an empty vessel. He hath swallowed me up like a dragon. Like a dragon. He hath filled his belly with my delicates. He hath cast me out. The violence done to me and to my flesh be upon Babylon, shall the inhabitant of Zion say, and my blood upon the inhabitants of Chaldea, shall Jerusalem say. Yep. Therefore, thus saith Yahweh, behold, I will plead thy cause and take vengeance for thee. I will dry up her sea and make her springs dry. And Babylon shall become heaps, a dwelling place for dragons, an astonishment and hissing without an inhabitant. See, none of the wicked shall survive. Only repentant souls are going to survive. That's it. They shall roar together like lions. They shall yell as lions' whelps. In their heat, I will make their feast, and I will make them drunken, that they may rejoice sleep a perpetual sleep, and not awake. Said, yeah, that's death right there. And I will bring them down like lambs to the slaughter, like rams with the he-goats. How is Shishak taken? And how is the praise of the whole earth surprised? How is Babylon become an astonishment among the nations? The sea is come up upon Babylon. She is covered with the multitude of the waves thereof. Her cities are a desolation, a dry land in a wilderness, a land wherein no man dwelleth, neither doth any son of man pass by. See, it's headed to final destruction. Just like right now, Iran is not Babylon. That's a whole different country, right? It's not powerful like Babylon. I mean, Iraq, not Iran. Iraq is a different country. It's not powerful like Babylon. There's no Babylon there anymore. Well, when the Most High destroys this system, it'll be like it never existed. There'll be no remnants of it. Okay? The earth will be made in righteousness again. Praise the Most High. And we'll all be children of light. Praise the Most High. And nobody will hate each other. There'll be no more greed on the earth. There'll be no more death on the earth. There'll be no more exploitation on the earth. There'll be no more violence. This will be the last of it. Praise the Most High. And I will punish Bel in Babylon, and I will bring forth out of his mouth that which he hath swallowed up. And the nation shall not flow together any more unto him. Yea, the wall of Babylon shall fall. My people, go ye out of the midst of her. Deliver ye every man his soul from fierce anger of Yahweh, lest your heart faint, and ye fear for the rumor that shall be heard in the land. A rumor shall both come 1 year. After that, in another year shall come a rumor, and violence in the land, ruler against ruler. Therefore, behold, the days come that I will do judgment upon the graven images of Babylon. The graven images we know, wood and stone. The big three, he's going to do judgment on them. And the whole land shall be confounded, and all her slain shall fall in the midst of her. Then the heaven and the earth and all that is therein shall sing for Babylon. For the spoilers shall come unto her from the north, saith Yahweh. As Babylon has caused the slain of Israel to fall, so at Babylon shall fall the slain of all the earth. Let's read that again. As Babylon had caused the slain of Israel to fall, remember, the dragon was wroth with the woman and went to make war with the remnant of her seed. So at Babylon shall fall the slain of all the earth. Ye that have escaped the sword, go away, stand not still. Remember Yahweh far off, and let Jerusalem come into your mind. We are confounded because we have heard reproach. Shame hath covered our faces, for strangers are coming to the sanctuary of Yahweh's house. Wherefore, behold, the days come, saith Yahweh, that I will do judgment upon her graven images, and through all her land the wounded shall groan. Though Babylon should mount up to heaven, though she should fortify the height of her strength, yet from me shall spoilers come unto her, saith Yahweh. See? They're going to be destroying each other too, brother. I'm telling you. We saw that in Revelation chapter 17. We saw that also in 2 Chronicles chapter 20. They're going to destroy each other when they get tired of trying to chase us. A sound of a cry cometh from Babylon, and great destruction from the land of the Chaldeans, because Yahweh hath spoiled Babylon and destroyed out of her the great voice. When her voices do roar like great waters, a noise of their voice is uttered, because the spoiler is come upon her, even upon Babylon, and her mighty men are taken. Remember? And the beast was taken, and with him the false prophet that wrought miracles before him. Remember that? Her men are taken. Every one of their bows is broken. For Yahweh Most High of recompenses shall surely requite. And I will make drunk her princes and her wise men, her captives and her rulers, her mighty men, and they that sleep a perpetual sleep and not awake. The second time he's saying it, saith the king, whose name is Yahweh of hosts. Thus saith Yahweh of hosts, the broad walls of Babylon shall be utterly broken, and her gates shall be burned with fire. And the people shall labor in vain, and the folk in the fire, and they shall be weary. The word, that's the end of it, the word which Jeremiah the prophet commanded Shariah, the son of Nariah, the son of Ashaiah, which, notice all them Yahs, right? When he went with Zedekiah, the king of Judah, into Babylon the 4th year of his reign. And Shariah was a quiet prince. So Jeremiah wrote in the book all the evil that should come upon Babylon, even all these words that are written against Babylon. Watch this now. This is the last part. Watch this now. And Jeremiah said to Shariah, when thou comest to Babylon and shalt see and read all these words, then shalt thou say unto Yahweh, O Yahweh, thou hast spoken against this place to cut it off, that none shall remain in it, neither man nor beast, that it shall be desolate forever. Watch this. And verse 63. And when it shall be, when thou hast made an end of reading this book, that thou shalt bind a stone to it and cast it into the midst of the Euphrates. And thou shalt say, thus shall Babylon sink and shall not rise from the evil that I will bring upon her, and they shall be weary. Thus far are the words of Jeremiah. Wait, where did we read that before? We're going to finish right here. Where did we read that before? Revelation chapter 18. Revelation chapter 18. Notice Revelation 18. I'm going to start at verse 20 and read from verse 20 and 21. Rejoice over her, thou heaven, and ye holy prophets, for Yahweh hath avenged you on her. And a mighty angel took up a stone like a great millstone and cast it into the sea, saying, thus with violence shall that great city Babylon be thrown down, and shall be found no more at all. So you had the original Babylonian empire destroyed, and now the modern Babylonian empire, which is a worldwide, as I said, religious, political, and economic system. That's the whole system we're in right now. The whole thing's going to be destroyed. It will never rise again. It will never come back. You're never going to have greed, corruption, fake money. You're never going to have that again. Never going to happen. Okay. You're never going to have people, 600,000 in America sleeping in the streets. Not going to be no more human trafficking or sex trade operation. Not going to be any more need for hospitals because nobody's going to be sick. There's not going to be any more need for graveyards because nobody's going to die. We're not going to be killing animals to eat them because we'll be back to our original diet, and all animals will be at peace with us, with each other, and all nature will be at peace with, in harmony with us, and everything will be in balance. Praise the Most High. That's where we're headed. That's where we're headed, y'all. We're not there now. Right now, you and I are being prepared for that. We're being prepared for that. That's the spiritual war that we're in. We're being prepared in the spirit to live in that atmosphere. We're being prepared for that. Praise the Most High. May he prepare me and prepare you. May he bless us to be ready to stand in that day. May he bless us to be ready to stand in that day and be sealed in that righteousness and be in that place. And that place is where you want to be. That's the real retirement, man. My wife and I are planning. We're trying to plan where we're supposed to be for retirement. Well, the Most High knows where we're going to be because now I'm 60 years old. But then we're going to be in eternal retirement. But we won't be retired in terms of activity. We'll all be active. We'll all be healthy. We'll all be happy. There'll be no more greed for people to try to take more than they're supposed to take. Everybody will share everything they have. Be beautiful, man. It'll be beautiful. Praise the Most High. No more crooks, no more liars, no more false gods. How long do I study the word? Well, actually, honestly, Heavenly Garden, I don't count how long I study the word. I just make sure I take it out and I make sure I'm keeping up with the studies, and then I'm keeping up with my reading. What I try to do is read ahead of my schedule. So right now, like for example, this is the 9th day of the 7th month in my reading. So right now I'm supposed to be in Acts 16. I'm supposed to be in Job 38, 39, and 40. But where I really are, I'm in Acts 19. And I'm actually past Job and I'm in Psalms. So I try to read ahead. And then once I read ahead and something touches my spirit, I can read that too. So like I go back and look at this or go back and look at that as I feel led by the Spirit to do so. But I try to stay on my page. Yeah, I don't count it. It's not that long though. I mean, I don't count the time. I don't know. Like I read it in the morning and I read at night. Usually I read in the morning, I read at night. I read until I feel tired. I don't really count any specific time. And I would suggest you do that. Don't like say, I got to read for an hour. No, just read until you start getting sleepy or until you start losing concentration. Then put it down and pray. And if you want to come back and try it again, do it again, but put it down, come back again later. I don't give myself any specific time. I just try to stay on this, on this schedule to make sure I'm reading it through in the year. See, I'm going to make sure I'm on that schedule. And like I said, I like to go ahead of the schedule a little bit to make sure that I'm, not getting behind. I have gotten behind in times past. I've gotten behind many years. I've gotten behind, had to do a lot of reading to catch up, but I don't try to really time myself as to how long I read. I don't do it that way. It's just, I mean, if that helps you, do it. If you need an hour and you say, I'm going to put this hour, this is my reading time and that's it, go ahead and do that. I just don't do it that way. It's either morning or night. I just read. Sometimes I'll be sitting in my couch in the living room and I'm getting ready to turn on the TV and I say, well, something comes to me and I keep Bibles all over the house. My wife and I keep Bibles everywhere. So I grab the Bible that's nearby and I look it up. We might have talking about something. We're talking about something and we got Bibles nearby. We look it up. Yeah, I just praise the Most High, Jeffrey. Praise the Most High. So that's I don't have a really set time that I read, except I just try to read in the morning and in the evening. And honestly, sometimes I fall asleep and don't read. Sometimes I don't read in the morning, or I'm rushing in the morning, don't read. But like I said, I try to stay ahead so that just in case anything like that happens, I'm not falling behind. So I've learned from my experience to try to stay ahead. So right now, I'm like, as far as my reading, I'm like 3 chapters ahead in Acts right now, and I'm already in Psalms. When I'm supposed to be in Job, I'm already in Psalms. So I try to stay ahead. That's the goal. Yeah, I just read till I get tired. Sometimes it's 10 minutes, sometimes it's an hour. I don't know. I just reading. I'm just, and then I get into it and I'm looking at cross references and I'm studying stuff, and I don't really set a time for it. I just try to do it, consistently. That's all. Just try to read. Praise the Most High. Praise the Most High. Amen. And I want to thank Brother Williams and Sister Isha, Sister Bataman for helping with the scriptures. That's beautiful. I praise the Most High. What I'm trying to do next, just to let you know, is I'm trying to learn how to, once I edit the video, to put the scripture words, up here while I'm talking. That's my next thing. I'm gonna try to do that. I'm trying to figure out how to do that. Now I figured out how to control some of the ads and figured out how to edit a little bit off, in there, and then put some suggested readings at the end and all that. But I just want, next thing is to put the words like on letters in black right here while I'm talking, so you guys can see the scriptures there. That's the next thing, but one thing at a time. One thing at a time. Okay. I pray that the Most High bless you and keep you, and that he cause his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you, and that he lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. Shalom.